Hello and welcome to Shoreline Music Monthly. We got a great lineup for you this month. We are a little later in the show going to have a Michelle Roise in here. She is the president from the Deep River Junior Ancients Fife and Drum Corps. And she's not coming alone, so just let that sink in for just a moment. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming muster in Deep River. They're hosting the National Muster this year, and some of the instruments used in the fife and drum world. So I'm looking forward to that. Our musical guest this month is, you've seen him before if you saw our one-year anniversary episode. Mr. Tim Foley is in the station. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Good to be back.
Back here,
Because you have been here before.
Which was good, because I knew how to find it.
Yeah, we are tucked away, aren't we? So it's great to have you back. Enjoyed that you were part of our one-year anniversary. That was a little bit of a... And strangely, we filled the room with tubas that night, and tonight we're going to... I think it's you. Tonight we're going to fill it with fifes and drums.
I do tend to attract strange instruments, so I've been known to attract a theremin every once in a while.
We do like those.
Ukulines, you never know.
So you're going to play us a bunch of songs. I've heard many of your songs, and I have to ask, I mean, where do some of those ideas even come from?
That's a good question. I mean, I think as a writer, a lot of what I draw on is kind of like probably a genetic proclivity to be a storyteller. So when I look around at various things going on in the world or people I know or stuff like that, I usually find little bits and pieces of stories, and when I get enough of a critical mass, they all just seem to gel together into something. And it might be social commentary, or it might just be an observational story, or an idea that I have that is amusing or funny or something like that to me.
So with you, would you say it's the words first, or?
Oh, for me, it's always almost always the words first. Yeah.
Right, and then you find a riff to hang them on, or?
Yeah. For me, the lyrics really need to be meaningful enough to kind of stand on their own, and then the music kind of fills itself in around it.
So the lyrics, they kind of build their own rhythm then, and.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done enough writing so that I know pretty much what the structure is going to be once I've got a verse and a chorus down. So there's only so much real estate you have to work with time-wise in a song anyway. So you really have to make the most of it, and that's what I try and do. I'll usually try and tighten the lyrics up. And generally, songs get bigger when I write them, and then they get smaller as I edit them.
Editing is key, yeah. Now, I never really asked you about this, but you have mentioned in passing that you've done some spoken word in the past.
Yeah.
You want to just, I mean, when was that? What era, or I mean, was it a poetry-based thing, a storytelling-based thing?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of songwriting, and I had kind of gotten to the point where I was running out of things to say and ways to say them. And I had been professionally out to a trade show in Chicago, and I had seen this article in the Chicago paper on poetry slams. And this had been like maybe a year prior to me just starting to look to go out and do one. But I found out there was one up in Middletown, and I went up, and I just figured I'd watch, and I watched it, and it was pretty good stuff. So I left there that night thinking, like, I can do this. So I did, and for a few years there afterwards, I slammed pretty actively, made the Connecticut state team to go to the Nationals
really?
1 year, and coached the team the next year. So.
And that's just nothing you still dip a toe in, or?
Not really. Once I started to write songs again, it's pretty much where most of my focus has been. I'll write a poem every once in a while just to kind of like do something a little bit coloring outside the lines from the form that you have to have for songwriting. But other than that, I don't do a whole lot with poetry these days. lurking on the edge of things. Just follow the scent down, victims dangling on a string. And you strike them hard, and you strike them fast when they expect it least. 'Cause the best love is just catch and release. You're a clever little beast. Gonna hide away in the secret of your dark need. Spill blood in the small hour and then revel in the feast. Such a clever little beast. How many nights has it been since you slept straight through? What became of the sweet, sweet girl? She looked a lot like you. Take what you want, hit and run, leave them writhing or deceased. Critical warning, just a minute too late, won't buy you a moment's peace. You're a clever little beast. Gonna hide away in the secrets of your darkest needs. Spill blood in the smallest hours and then revel in the feast. Such a clever little beast. Mama's little baby got a big, big secret. Mama's little baby told a great big lie. Mama's little baby, what you gonna keep when the truth is gone in the bank of the night? You're a little beast. Gonna hide away in the secret of your darkest need. Spill blood in the smallest hours and then revel in the feast. Such a clever little beast. Milltown Valley, born and raised. This place has sure seen better days. Life and fate held what's in store. A view here from this factory floor. And the rumors fly around the globe and back. They size us down, but the suits grow fat. Take from us, they don't give back. Now imagine that, imagine table pie with the bills we owe. There's a heavy rain and a bitter wind, where beginnings end and the end begins. And the rumors fly around the globe and back. They size us down, but the suits grow fat. They take from us, they don't give back. Now imagine that. Imagine that. What is it we think we see? Fortune through other people's misery. Skid marks of bait and switch. Run off the shoulder, down the ditch. Riding on a bulldoze wall, getting bootstrap up with no shoes at all. Make the rules when you own the game. Divide and conquer through rage and shame. Rumors fly around the globe and back. They size us down, but the suits grow fat. Take from us, they don't give back. Now imagine that, imagine that. Yeah, the rumors fly around the globe and back. They size us down, but the suits grow fat. Take from us, they don't give back. Now imagine that.
Hello, I am here with Michelle Roise from the Deep River Junior Ancients, and she's going to tell you all a little bit about a pretty big deal coming up next month. Deep River is hosting the National Muster.
The Deep River Ancient Muster happens every year, the third Saturday of July. We have fife and drum corps. It's a muster, which is a group of fife and drum corps that come from all over the country and sometimes across the seas from Switzerland. And they all join together in Deep River. There's festivities and a parade, and they all take turns performing. And it's something to experience. It's definitely a cultural experience.
Very nice. And this is the biggest in the world?
It is. Every single year we have the most fifers and drummers and the most fife and drum corps coming together in Deep River. History, rumors have it that the reason why everybody loves Deep River, of course, it's a very nice place to work, live, and play, but it's about a 1.5 mile march and it's flat. So it's easy to march.
So that's why it took off.
That's why. It's not hilly like Boston and all that type of stuff.
Now, I was actually on your website, or the website for the muster, and I saw that there's a Friday night activity called a tattoo, which
yes,
they're not all getting inked, right?
No, you'd think it was, although there is a tattoo parlor in Deep River. But no, the tattoo is kind of the gathering before the Friday night before the parade, and it is hosted by the Deep River Juniors, and we select some of the drum corps to perform. So there are some longer performances to come, and then after the performances, it turns into one big jam session. So there's just a whole bunch of food and music and fifing and drumming and so many different versions of Yankee Doodle.
It must be loud.
It is very loud, and I live about 1.5 miles from, and I can hear it
But you
know,
like that,
so,
'cause
it's
this is
wonderful.
what you do.
It's wonderful. It's a very, what I think especially for the children, it's a very unique thing to do. It's not your average, baseball and sports and everything. It is an extremely unique activity for the kids to do. We practice every Tuesday night in Deep River, but we welcome members from all over. You don't have to live in Deep River to be a member. We have
Someone from Portland, Oregon.
some of you.
Just met.
Yep. Portland, Connecticut. That's Olivia. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
It's the Fife and Drum Museum, which is located in Ivoryton, Connecticut, is their 50th anniversary this year, the company of fifers and drummers, and they are the ones that are really holding the history of some old drums and uniforms and pictures from a long time ago, and how much history there is
Nice.
with fife and drum can
And
be found.
as old as that museum is, you guys got them beat.
Yeah,
I see
the
1955 on the hats.
We were formed in 1955 by Vic Malcarney, and Vic Malcarney was a member of the Deep River Senior Ancients, the Deep River Drum Corps, I believe, and they are the adult members of the Deep River Fife and Drum. And he formed the juniors back in 1955, so that way there was youth involved, and you can get more youth involved. And he loved fife and drum, and he loved working with the kids.
Well, see, on this show, one of the things that we really, really, really like are instruments that aren't seen maybe routinely around. You know, everyone sees a guitar, you know, everyone sees a piano. But since you all are here, I was wondering if we might be able to take a little closer look, maybe at the fife. I see at least a couple of different kinds of drums.
Yep.
Maybe,
The fifes, there are a variety of types of fifes. Different corps may play different types of fifes. The Deep River Junior Ancients plays a McDonough fife, which is a wooden fife
could we
made
see
of
one?
African
Maybe
wood.
Get a little close up. Can one of you folks
it
get there?
comes in different holes, but this one is a 6-hole McDonough, and each fifer has to in order to march with the corps, you have to have the wooden fife.
Our
And
drum corps over here.
here we have the snare drum, which both the snare drum and the bass are rope tension. They are handcrafted. They are all bent wood, and so everything is sensitive to the environment. If it's a little humid, if it's raining,
So is there
or if
actual
it's cold.
tuning with the rope?
They're supposed to be completely tensioned when they are playing it, and then in order to preserve the head when you're not playing it, you have to loosen it. And the same thing with the bass
over
drum.
here.
The bass drum is nice because we paint Deep River Junior Ancients on it, and this is
All right.
Olivia's drum. And same thing, rope tension, all hand bent wood, and put together. I believe Cooperman makes a good majority of the wood drums that we have. We adopted fife and drum from the Swiss, so we have a connection with the Swiss corps, which is why a lot of times they come here, sometimes we go there. And with the uniforms, the Deep River Junior Ancients is formed after a Revolutionary Corps, and how it works is, from what I've been told, the musicians' uniforms are opposite of the troop that they are working with. So that way you can identify the musicians versus the soldiers. And so, for
we
instance,
don't shoot at the musicians.
right, I know, don't shoot the drummer or the
Don't.
messenger, get it? So if, for instance, with our red coats, we are not the British.
I guess the fifes and drums were used to direct the troops themselves?
They would be the ones that would make the call as to whether flank left, flank right, wake for breakfast, go to sleep, time to get up, time to do this, time to
So
move
it wasn't
on.
just about the music, it was actually
Right.
communication.
The music was what kept the soldiers motivated and marching, and just to keep them going. But when they were camped, they would be the ones to send signals. It kind of phased out as soon as radio came in, and you get that sort of communication.
Not as much fun, but probably more
So-
efficient. Right, so I expect you all to stop by the muster and say hello to these fine folks. I'm going to get out of the way so that all these folks can do what they like to do and bang on things. And I like your tagline. If the music's too loud, then we're doing it right.
Right.
So
Yes, fife and
I'm
drum
100%
is
behind that.
very loud.
All right, I am back here again with Mr. Tim Foley, and we'll get him back out here to play another song or two, but he's agreed to play once again our lightning round from the hip episode, where I'm just going to ask him some random questions and see what happens. So, Mr. Foley, how many different states have you lived in?
2.
One of
Connecticut,
which-
Massachusetts, yeah.
Okay. Cannolis, yes or
Yes.
no? Yes. Damn. I'm taking a poll, you know, because I've come to the conclusion that they're not all that, but everybody
They
seems
have to be
disagree with
fresh.
me. Okay.
There are cannolis and there are cannolis.
All right.
Yes.
All right. You're the guest. Your favorite songwriter that you don't know personally?
Oh, there's so many of them. Maybe James Taylor.
Okay. Fair enough. The first song that you ever learned to play?
I have no idea.
and that was, do you remember perhaps how old you were when you began to play? What was your first instrument?
Was probably Tonette. So I'm going to say like hot cross buns. Yeah, that might be it.
Because I've seen you play the mandola, the mandolin, the fiddle, the guitar. Which one? Was it guitar first, or?
No, actually, well, I started out as a trumpet player in school and kind of went through the brass instruments before I found things with strings on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then it sounds like you've played a lot of instruments. What instrument that you do not play would you love to learn how to?
Piano.
That's a common one, yeah.
I'm a hack at it, but I know I could actually play it if I really set my mind to it, but I'm too distracted.
And what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
My favorite cartoon growing up.
You came from the golden age of cartoons.
Yeah, there were so many good ones back then. I'm going to have to go with Scooby-Doo.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Foley, for subjecting yourself to this. But
It wasn't at all
appreciate it.
pleasant.
Not at all. All right. Well, let's get back to the music.
I own Bobby's Barbecue Shack out on Route 303. The meatiest, tangiest, greasiest strips to ever clog an artery. Own and run with family pride since back in '93. So imagine my surprise when my firstborn came to me. He said, "Dad, you know I love you, and I would never do you wrong. You know you raised me well, and that our family bond is strong." Be sure my Texan heart beats true, of that you can be glad. But I'm dating a wicked vegan girl, and tofu ain't that bad. Well, he's dating a wicked vegan girl, and I don't know what to say. Since the fur-free cat's out of the bag, I'm taking it day by day. He'll be hugging trees and eating sprouts and drinking cruelty-free beer, growing his hair so that he'll fit in at the Ren Fair. My goddess, the end is near. So we brought her round to meet us in her earth green hybrid car. She's wearing native hand-woven hem from some collective near Dakar. She's occupying this and she's saving that, and she's communing with the fish. But she wouldn't touch a single thing we put upon her dish. I know that love's a curious thing, and how differences can come together, like the spices in a barbecue sauce where the resultant flavor's better. They'll be dating quite some time, to me this much is clear. But I sure do miss that Hooters girl, he was sweet on